So, so that,
See if he's there. If he's not, we need a backup plan.
Okay. Is Mr. Wade here tonight?
you know, yes, you've got.
Sam.
Okay, thank you.
Not to have to say.
Thank you. Okay, call the meeting to order. All persons are present tonight except Commissioner Derwin Norwood. He won't be with us this evening. All others are here. Tonight, the invocation will be given by Commissioner Waddell. Flag salute. Colonel Waldrop, can we ask you to do that? Lead us in that after we're done with the invocation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please bow your heads. Father God, we just want to thank you for this time in which we come together and meet on city business. We'd ask that you would just be in the midst and guide our hands and our thoughts and our votes, Father God, so it'd be a reflection of who you would have us to be, Father God, and that we would lead this community in the direction in which you would have it to go. We ask all these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you both. I'd like to recognize that Colonel Waldrop is here. I think this is your first time coming to the City Commission meeting, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So he's serving as the ex officio for Vance Air Force Base. For those that don't know, Colonel Simmons had knee replacement surgery a week ago. So Colonel Waldrop is here in his behalf. He's actually the commander for the medical group at the base. So he's probably got the toughest job on base, trying to keep the wing commander off his legs while he's trying to recuperate. So anyway, welcome tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet. Item number 4, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of October 15th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter. I think
Brian, do you know, are they on the way?
all pets have been adopted.
There you go.
That's probably not true. Okay. Item 5.2, recognize City of Enid Employees of the Month.
There's it. Let's go on down.
All right.
Hey, Mayor, Commissioners, and the public and staff here. As you know, I think about a month ago, we did the October Employees of the Month, and we're selecting 3 a month. And so here we are in November, back to select or to announce the 3 Employees of the Month for November. So among part of what we're doing here tonight is recognizing them, because without the employees and all of the employees doing their jobs, we would not be providing the services that we are providing, which all the things we do with the infrastructure and the utilities and the code, et cetera, et cetera. So the employees tonight have been nominated by their peers or other parties that have recognized their performance or their exceptional efforts and nominated them, and they have been selected by one of the 3, either the Assistant City Manager or the Director of Public Utilities or Public Works. So tonight we got 3 of them. We'll go ahead and start. Why don't we start with the city employee from other than Public Works and Public Utilities. Jessica Ludlow, would you like to come on up? And Jenny, come on up. And Aaron, if you want to come up, that's fine too. Because Jenny, I would like to, I know that the great thing for me is I don't get to the library that much, but when I do, Jessica's one of the people that I see. And I'm not the one that nominated you, but I was very excited to see that you were selected. I will tell you that I'm a slow reader. So I've been to see her many times for extensions, and she's always helped me out, and I've never had to pay a fine. So, but she does a lot of wonderful things. Jenny, do you want to talk about Jessica?
So this is Jessica Sudlow. She is our lead circulation specialist at the library. While we don't create jobs for people, I am a big believer that sometimes jobs and people meet kind of at the right time, and Jessica is a prime example of that. We had a position open, and Jessica kind of popped up and said, hi. And it is kind of kismet for us. She was a volunteer at the library, and I'm sure that you all have either seen or have met her dog, Doc, who comes to the library. And it's just kind of been a perfect fit for us. Between her and her amazing skills with people, with Doc, and reading to, Doc doesn't do the reading, but the kids do the reading to Doc. It's just kind of a perfect fit, and we are ever so thankful for her. She's the first person to see a problem and jump into fixing that problem. She's the first person to volunteer to help. She's the first person that anybody sees when they walk into the library, and she's always got a great big smile on her face. I have said from the very beginning when I took over as the director of the library, I want the people at the circulation desk to make sure that anybody who comes into the library knows that they are welcome here, that we're excited for our patrons to be there, and Jessica is the personification of that. She is incredibly welcoming, she's incredibly encouraging. She goes out of her way to help our patrons and make sure that everybody is welcome at the library, and I'm honored that the city has honored her in this way. So we're really lucky to have her.
And then you may want to say something.
All right. Gerald presented a plaque that's suitable for hanging on the wall so that everybody else knows what we think of you as well. I come from a military background, and one of the things military likes to do is they like to do coins for special events. So I'd like to present you with a coin from the city of Enid with our thanks for a job well done.
There you go.
We've got two more. This is really fun. This is probably the most satisfying part of my job. Not this part really, but the opportunity to work with fine employees trying to make a difference in the city. So our next one up is from Public Works, works in the Parks and Recreation Department. His name is Justin Bailey. Justin, why don't you come on up with Corey and Everett? And I'll just say something before, Everett, you and Corey can talk about him, but I've gotten to know Justin because if you pay attention in the park system, it's uncanny to me that every park I go to, it seems like I see Justin. And so it doesn't matter what it is, what task it is, I see Justin. So anyway, this is for you. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to hear all the other good things before I give you this. So guys, please.
Justin is part of the Park and Recreation Department, and his name actually came across my desk last month also, so it was kind of a hard choice when we chose our Employee of the Month last month. But when it came back across again and hit 3 times from 3 different people, we thought this would be a good selection. Justin's a very good employee. He's outstanding, and this is a good fit for him. And I'm going to turn this over to Corey and let him talk about it a little bit.
I'm Corey Buller. I'm the supervisor for the Parks and Recreation Department. I was one of the people that nominated Justin here. He's been with us about 3 years in the Parks Department. I can't say enough about him. Like Gerald said, you go to any park and you see this guy. He's always one of the first people to work. He's always volunteering to stay late, work weekends, help anywhere he can. He's our prime, like one of our head maintenance guys for the Champlin Pool. He's always there. You'll always see him there in the summertime down in the basement with his gas mask on. And he's just a prime example of what I would consider a great employee. So I couldn't be more happy for him, and I appreciate you very much, Justin. Thank you.
I just will say thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Enid, and I hope for many more fruitful years serving the taxpayers. Thank you.
All right, the third employee that we're honoring tonight is Lisa Robertson. Lisa, would you come on up here, and Tim and Lou? And I love it when I see folks come across that get this award that I know or have some story. And Lisa's been at the city for a while and worked in some different departments, currently in solid waste. But what's the most memorable thing for me and some of the employees is she helped participate in a great solid waste video that we showed last year at Christmas of how to properly put your poly card at the curb. So she does a whole lot more stuff than that. Many people know Lisa from the route, so I think probably Lou and Tim.
Very honored to nominate Lisa. She's been an outstanding employee for the solid waste department. I wished I had like 25 more Lisas so that we could really get things done at the city of Enid, because she's one of those persons that's the backbone of solid waste. Everybody in that department loves Lisa so much.
The whole reason why we nominated Lisa this month was because we had an incident with the fire in the back of one of our trash trucks last month, and without her quick response, it triggered everyone else to respond. We had the fire department, parks, streets also helped us out, and within about an hour and a half time, we had it cleaned up. Would have never known it happened. So Lisa's a very positive person. She's always fun. She always comes to work. She's always volunteering to help everybody out. And with the event that happened last month and her really good reaction and response, we went ahead and nominated her. I'm glad we selected her. I don't think we could have found a better person. So thank you very much.
All right, there's a coin from the city of Enid. So thank you so much. And let me say one more word too. I was going, I don't know, it's probably a month ago, but I was going back toward my house on Randolph, heading west. So it's not Randolph, if you're going west, it's Randolph. Is it Randolph? But anyway, what I see in front of me is a trash truck. Now, how many people like to see a trash truck in front of you when you're on, right? But that's not the cool part of the story. The trash truck in front of me stopped in front of a house that had wheelchair ramps that were going up and around the house, went and got the trash container from that house, brought it to the street, emptied the trash, brought it back. That's the kind of employees that I like to see. That's serving the city of Enid. So thank you so much.
She does it all the time.
I don't do public speaking, but this is my second go around working for the city, and the first time I left by choice because I may have gotten fired. But because of their big hearts and grace, they have accepted me back, and this has been probably the best year I've ever had in solid waste. So, thank you all.
Okay, item number 6, hearings. Item number 6.1, conduct a public hearing to consider rezoning from R2 Residential Single Family District and C3 General Commercial District to R7 Multifamily Residential District. 3 tracts of property located in the southeast quarter of Section 9, Township 22 North, Range 6 west of the Indian Meridian, City of Enid, Garfield County, Oklahoma, located at the southeast corner of Oklahoma Avenue and University Avenue and northwest corner of 30th Street and Oklahoma Avenue. The complete legal description is described in the accompanying ordinance. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mayor, Commissioners, City Management, you'll see that this is located in our, our University District. This is according to the Enid Envision Comp Plan. Our next slide shows where it is actually in our aerial photo. You'll see there's Oklahoma, 30th Street, University Boulevard. We've got 2 tracts of land that are zoned C3 and R2 combination. The applicant, Eli Berry, is wanting to rezone these to R7. They're wanting to put up some apartments. MAPC did not unanimously approve that. They had 1 dissenting vote, 6 approving votes. Okay. Other than that, we looked at the infrastructure. Roads, water, and sewer are available. However, they may need further study depending on the density of the development there. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer those.
Any specific, when you say may need more study, is it traffic? Is
Traffic.
It traffic?
Traffic, and I believe the water line, I believe I have one more slide concerning the water line. It was just, I can't see that, is that a 10-inch line? So that's a 10-inch line there. That may be appropriate for everything, but it's the traffic is that what they were concerned about.
Were there any protests to the?
We did have 4 people at the MAPC meeting that were against that. We did map that. I do have that map. I do not have that map, okay? My apologies.
It is in the packet.
It is in your packet, that's correct. Those 4 protesters, there were 3 within 300 feet.
Okay.
And because they're wanting to go to R7, they also, thank you, they also have to send out a notice to the property owners within a quarter mile of that. The 1 protester was outside the 300 foot, but there were 3 inside. Those 3 amounted to 30.6% protest in the 300 foot.
Okay. All right. I'm just doing a little math.
Sure. Now, if there had been 50% or more, it would require a 3/5 vote of the City Commission.
Okay. If we don't have any more questions here, we have 2 people that have signed up, 3 people that have signed up to talk to that issue.
Okay.
The first person, Mr. Berry, would you come forward? Please give your name and address as you start.
Eli Berry, 1211 West York.
Okay.
We purchased this land probably 10 years ago with the intention to develop it. I sent an email regarding a conceptual design. Again, it's conceptual. We haven't decided on densities. We're open to discussing that with the city staff and taking our site development plan back to MAPC if need be, whatever needs to happen to make sure that we're impacting the positive way. We've looked at, we're prepared to start any water detention that needs to be started and do that before we actually start on the project. That way we can make sure that we're not flooding our neighbors. The University Park is a gateway to Enid, and the project that we're proposing happen in the future is unlike any apartments. We called them apartments just simply because we had to legally because of lot and block. You guys saw the picture that we have envisioned on that. they're going to be terracing down. That's a hill to be terracing down, and so the ones on University will look towards the golf course. The other ones will face out towards the east, and so we're not talking about looking in people's windows and things like that. This isn't our first development. We've done this a lot. This is what we do, and we're about providing a service to our community and reinvesting in an area that deserved it a long time ago. So any further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
What's your target residence for this area?
Target resident is going to be a teacher, a professor at the college, middle management at Koch Industries or the industrial park.
Okay.
We're talking about market rate, just so you know. These 2-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath type is the design that we've seen in the past. We're not talking about a super high density, low income apartment, and so it's not something that's been on this agenda in a while.
Yeah, no, we don't have a lot of this. This is a niche that needs filled. Is Oklahoma Avenue? I mean, does that chunk of Oklahoma need to be improved to support that? There's that little bridge.
We need to learn that. I think I'm not sure we know exactly what needs to happen to that. It does have a little bridge. It does kind of bottleneck. Mm-hmm. The entries would be off of Oklahoma and University, and
it would be a pretty way to come into.
It'll look nice, but regarding Oklahoma, we're the property on both sides of that bottleneck all the way down from University to 30th. Hmm. And so, there may be some things that need to happen to that street. But we're pretty preliminary right now.
Well, will there be a property manager on site?
Unknown. That depends on density. It depends on the overall development of the project. Commissioner Mason, I think it's a good question. It's not something that we've addressed yet. By trade, I am a property manager. That's what I do. But we haven't even thought if we're going to go with the management of the project hasn't been discussed yet. Again, we're just talking about rezoning some land.
Looks good.
Okay, thank you. Next person that wanted to talk, Michael Batchelder. And name and address, please.
Yes, Michael Batchelder. I'm 419 University Boulevard. On this map here, the green area south of the yellow line, that's where the R2 is actually listed, is my property from University Boulevard to 30th Street, almost to the bridge, the viaduct there. As I said in the meeting last month, I do not want anything built in there. I don't want the area destroyed. I don't want the noise level raised. This is a nice, quiet area. I live there. It's been my homestead for over 70 years. I don't want that changed. Now, I appreciate Mr. Berry just announcing that he was going to do a spectacular apartment complex in there. That's nice. The word that we got, though, was that he wanted to build low-income apartment housing. There are at least 4 to 5 low-income apartment complexes within 1.5 miles of this area. We do not need another one. So as far as I'm concerned, I would like you to disregard his application and veto this. We do not need another apartment complex anywhere in Enid anymore.
Would your view change if it was professional people that they were trying to put in there?
No, because I don't want the people. I don't want that area loaded down with people again. I like it nice and quiet.
You said that you own that piece just south. You live on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
House there. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, no others? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Timothy Dorsch.
Mr. Mayor and others. Timothy Dorsch, 2800 East Oklahoma Avenue, directly across the street from the property that is just below Oklahoma Avenue. So I'm just north of the designation Oklahoma Avenue.
Okay.
And I was out of town when we had the MAPC meeting, but my wife attended, and at that time, it seemed as though no one really knew what type of apartments were going to go in. And so I came to learn more about it, and when we decided to move to Enid and retire there, it was R2 directly across from us. So, you know, we thought there could be a house or two, something built there sometime, but really didn't anticipate apartments. I'm not necessarily opposed to apartments as such. They would block my view of 412 when I hear sirens, and I can't tell whether they're fire trucks or ambulance or police. But I guess we were just expecting to have a quiet neighborhood, residential neighborhood like is behind us, and the golf course is across the street basically. Haven't got out there as much as I'd hoped, but anyway, I guess my thinking is that suggestion for the future is that when proposals are made to change the zoning, that it might be helpful to have a little better idea of the layout and like where street entrances would be, where are they 1-story, 2-story, that type of thing, a little more idea, and what type of people they target for coming into that area. And that would help people perhaps better be able to decide whether they would welcome that type of thing or whether they wouldn't. Of course, most people hope things won't change, and that was the case for us. But anyway, that's just some thoughts I wanted to share with you all.
Can I address one of the things you mentioned just as a point of education? So some of the details you discussed, those get addressed at a site plan level. So the site plan comes after the rezoning. And there was a time where the site plan also came before this body for approval. And a few years ago, the ordinance was changed, so the site plan is now approved at the staff level, and it's not before us at all.
Okay.
And I think that probably was a mistake, but
well,
I got outvoted. Point being, the site plan, some of those details, they have to be a lot of what Eli and David and Bob will do with this site. I mean, there are a lot of requirements. There's a long list of requirements that just have to be met, no way, no how.
Sure.
And that all gets reviewed by our staff, and the rules are the same for everybody in terms of when when you're developing location, of entrance and all that. We kind of have a set of rules that everybody's got to play by, and that's
Sure.
where that site plan level oversight, it just doesn't happen before the public or this body because it's generally kind of technical stuff. So just for whatever it's worth, it's confusing. It's not, but it's where that kind of breakdown between what we see and what the staff sees.
Sure.
It's a practical matter.
Well, and I too understand that it's kind of like which comes first, the cart or the horse, because you can't make a real specific blueprint and have architectural drawings before it goes to the MAPC because you don't know if it's going to be approved, and so I can understand that. But I think it would be helpful to have at least some basic general idea of what people could expect when they go to the MAPC. Just my thought.
Thank you.
So,
Sir,
anyone else?
I'm going to follow up on that just a
Yes.
moment, too, because I'm not sure, have we gotten a site plan yet?
We have not. It's very preliminary.
Yes, and so one of the things that I would ask developers to do is to help us with this. And I know that Eli would be glad with David Ritchie to sit down and talk to you and your neighbors, if they haven't already, about what it is you want to know. Because there's some things we don't know yet either, meaning the city. So just to follow up on Commissioner Ezell's comments, we do encourage this. I know that Commissioner Mason recently, we've heard some of the similar comments about why hasn't the city told us or shown us plans, specifically in regard to development on Willow. Just to reiterate what Commissioner Ezell said, is the city follows a process that is set in place by the commission. We can always change that process, but currently it says what he said. When we do get the site plan, which I don't know when that's going to be.
Sure.
We'd be glad to reach out to you, or if you want to come in. But I would tell you, if you want to know immediately, talk to the developer sitting behind you, because they know more about it than we do. So
Okay.
just in fairness, and I love saying that because many times people ask, well, what can the city do for us? And in this case, I'm asking, what can people in the city do for the city? And in this case, developers will be glad to talk to you about the project. And I bet they can answer some of your questions already. I know from looking at the pictures, I believe it will be a fantastic development, but that's just my personal opinion, and I do respect the opinions of the people in the area, which we get into that basic property rights versus, the right of municipalities to govern. So anyway.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Another thing I would mention here.
Mr.
Yep.
Barry, is, they mentioned low income. You said this is going to be for professors, or that's your target market?
Actually, I specifically said this is not a low-income project.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
okay. No portion of that, yeah.
No portion, this is market level rents, and the development that I have in mind is.
What's the problem with low income? We like low income housing. There's
I said there
nothing
was
wrong
a
with,
problem,
okay.
But I
No,
think
I
that
just-
that
You're
needs-
right, I mean, I don't mean to disparage low income.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the low income environment in different parts of my business, but this is something different that hasn't
Sure.
been invested.
that was one of their concerns, and I think.
Right, but
that
I
should
don't think
be
it's
addressed.
I just don't think it's a legitimate concern. And really, I mean, just be super clear, low-income housing is valuable to the entire community. There's nothing wrong with living next to low-income housing. People in low-income housing are no different than you or I. Everybody is just people, and I don't want to start treating low-income housing as being a negative or being a concern at all, because it's.
No one said that it was.
Well, but you said it was.
He had a concern, and I asked the question.
Right. Well, I think
all
it was explicitly raised as a concern, and I just, we're real clear, we like low-income housing in this community, and we have,
Also like transparency.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
good.
Motion to
discussion?
approve.
Oh, we gotta
Wait
get
a
through
minute.
the.
That was the hearing.
Oh, my fault.
Okay. All right. Don't have anybody else that's scheduled to speak. If we're done here, we'll move on to item number 7, community development. Item number 7.1. Can you put up the, put on the screen 7.1 there?
No, yeah,
The map
Yeah.
is there.
Oh, well,
You want the agenda?
I was going to put the wording that,
I think she said that we could just refer
just
back
use
to the
that?
map.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's far more useful than the 1,000.
Right. Now, there's a legal description that is about 3 pages of legalese long that I'm sure you do not want to hear me say. But the diagram that's shown with the yellow outlines is the area that we're talking about, and that's what the legal description has. If you want a copy of the legal description, we can provide that for everybody, and it is available in the minutes. So if you take a look at all the materials that are available for tonight, you'll be able to see it that way. But, so anyway, we're considering an ordinance to allow the rezoning of that property under item 7.1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 8, administration. Item number 8.1, consider a resolution to select Consor Engineers LLC, Edmond, Oklahoma, as the 2020-2022 bridge inspection contractor for the city of Enid, and authorize the mayor to execute all related documents.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 8.2, consider an emergency resolution of the mayor and board of commissioners of the city of Enid notifying the public that there will be a public hearing held on December 3rd, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. in the city council chambers of the city administration building, which hearing is held pursuant to the request for a KELP LLC DBA doing business as Suddenlink Communications cable operator for an extension and renewal of its right to operate a community antenna television system within the corporate limits of the city of Enid, Oklahoma, with such public hearing held pursuant to Section 626 of the Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984 as amended, with the purpose of such hearing to, 1, identify the cable-related community needs and interest, and 2, review the performance of the cable operator under the license during the current licensing term, declaring an emergency.
So we are just setting a hearing, correct?
Yep, yep.
I'll move to approve that.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, cast your ballots.
Move the emergency.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Please cast your ballots.
Would encourage everyone who has questions with Suddenlink to please come to that meeting.
Yeah.
Bring a sleeping bag.
So both of those were approved by 6-0 vote. All right. Item number 3, 8.3, consider a resolution increasing the 2019-2020 stormwater fund budget by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $161,000 for the stormwater department budget.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, this is a companion item to the next item that you're considering for easements along Willow and Cleveland. There are about $4.7 million available to appropriate from the Stormwater Fund to cover this.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 8.4, approve a contract with Cummins Construction Company Incorporated for the purchase of easements at Willow Road and Cleveland Street for stormwater and drainage improvements in the amount of $161,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballot. Okay. Motion carries 5-0.
Well,
I mean 5-1, I'm sorry.
yes.
Okay. Item number 9 is consent agenda items.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 10, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item number 11, trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting are all in attendance except Commissioner Norwood. Item number 12, Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item number 12.1, approval of claims in the amount of $258,978.89.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 13, adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item number 14, all trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are in attendance except Commissioner Norwood. Item number 15, Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 15.1, approval of claims in the amount of $28,191.90.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 16, adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item number 17, all trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting are in attendance except Commissioner Norwood. Item number 18, Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item number 18.1, consider resolution authorizing the chairman of the Enid Public Transportation Authority to execute an agreement between the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, ODOT, and the Enid Public Transportation Authority for public transit revolving funds. Good.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion, second by Commissioner Allen. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 18.2, approval of claims in the amount of $1,699.39.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second by Commissioner Allen. Any other discussion? Cast your ballots. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 19, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 20, public comments. Ms. Levesque.
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Oak Avenue, and I live in an area where that stands as perfect illustration why leaving an area zoned as R2 is not a guarantee of a nice, quiet neighborhood, because when you have slumlords renting out whole structures, you can still have low-income problems where the income is so low that who they're renting to are thieves and vandals. Now, with regards to a recurring code issue on my own property, which consists of a vandalized once storage, well, it's a shed. It was very nice. When it was built, it had glass windows. It was vandalized once. With the problem people that moved into 1304 and a half, that was vandalized again. I had it painted up. I had murals on it and all of that, and the walls got knocked over again. And if I'm to keep having a money pit like that, I appeal to the City Commission to do a better job of policing the vandals who live in R2 zoned areas, who are tenants of slumlords, such as I mentioned last time, in a house where there is a firebug collecting brush from other people's property and stockpiling that and burning it, pretty much putting the rest of the neighborhood at risk. So, given that I'm located pretty close to the newly renovated US 81 overpass, and that is prime commercial area, if so zoned, you might consider doing a rezoning of that area that permits a combination of residential and commercial, and an apartment would clean up a lot of the problems that happen when you rent out an entire house. Case in point, there's a business being run. It's a bicycle business for 1304, but they rent 1304 and a half, which originally when it was built at 1304 was the residence. 1304 and a half is a garage. It's now small rental property. But 1304 with its business is accumulating a lot of bicycle parts, and it's stacked pretty high in their backyard, when what they should be doing is putting that in what's supposed to be a garage. So I would look forward personally, even though I like a nice quiet R2, it's not nice and quiet given that it's R2 and there is a slumlord problem. I'm looking at you, Mr. Graven. There's a problem over there. And a rezoning there would benefit the city. You'd have a business that'd be paying proper sales tax and et cetera. And it would clean up the crime in the area. Now, I want to praise Mr. Mayor here, Mr. I'm sorry, I have a problem with that name. And I forgive you for having a problem with mine, for doing a wonderful job and for launching the state license plate for the monarch butterfly conservation. And I would like to appeal to you to make your proclamation here in front of a regular city session. And I also want to point out that I'm happy to volunteer and put milkweeds on public property, which brings us to a minor issue I have with Mr. Gilbert. I have volunteered, and to clean up the flower patches right here in front of this building. I cleaned up one, but that was contingent on my putting milkweeds in there, and Mr. Gilbert has a problem with a very beautiful milkweed, and I will subsequently send you a link to the profile of what's called butterfly weed. It's called Asclepias tuberosa. It grows to be yay high in the wild. Mr. Gilbert doesn't like it that high. So what I've done is I've put more seeds of the milkweed you have there already. It's called honeyvine. Taxonomic name is Cynanchum lave. But I've also, Mr. Gilbert, seeded it with a thing called whorled milkweed, which typically in the wild grows yay high. But it has very fine leaves. It kind of looks like a horsetail, and it is in fact called horsetail milkweed on occasion. And it doesn't sustain monarch life very well. Okay, I've run out of time. I would like for you, Mr. Mayor, to get us beyond this impasse and talk some sense into your city manager and allow me to put those milkweeds as intended originally per original agreement so that I can clean up the rest of your flower beds.
Okay. All right. Item number 21, consider convening into executive session to discuss possible improvements to the water reclamation plant and modifications to the plant's Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality discharge permit, and reconvene into regular session to take any necessary action.
Motion to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Cast your ballots. We have 5, 4, and Commissioner Ezell is against. Okay?
Unnecessary.
Ready?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.